I have a different answer. Home is here.
In the summer of 2015, the world watched thousands of refugees fight their way through fences to freedom. It all began boat by boat.
And continued foot by foot. In this program, we will take you along that so-called Balkan Route. Hello, my name is Ivana Atanackovic.
And I am Andy Bora. In an era of fake news, these facts are true, and the numbers are startling above the refugee crisis.
The International Organization for Migration European Border says over 900,000 migrants arrived in Greece in 2015.
And since then, of course, thousands more, 93% of them by sea.
We are standing by the symbol of hostility towards refugees.
By the so-called razor fence between the border of Slovenia and Croatia.
We invite you to join us as we explore the heartache and heroism connected to this crisis.
And the hatred and the hope captured by global media.
But what stories have not yet been told? That's our program's mission.
These are tough stories to tell and sometimes to watch.
And pictures often do a better job than words.
Especially those captured by refugees themselves. Bloodshed in Syria forced millions of people to flee their homes to save their lives and those of their children. The displaced, waiting for full refugee status, were determined to get to Europe. Greece was the quickest yet most dangerous route. Each raft, built to carry 8 to 10, were staffed with more than 50 people.
The way from Turkey to Greece is very dangerous. The police in Turkey it's not humanly, because one time when we want to cut the sea, they catch us in the sea. After that, they're using the gun and shoot above our head.
In spring 2016, Mayor Dr. Nabil Yosif Morand, a Syrian Greek, decided to help the refugees and transform the coastal village into this safe haven.
It was my municipality to give a small village, LM village in Mersini. I decided to give it for the government to pay for the refugees from Syria.
The camp has its own site administrator, George Angelopoulos. The volunteer takes care of all the problems, including organizing other volunteer projects.
Now lives here 169 persons, about 100 children now. The first day 338 people and 220 children.
Around 10 o'clock in the morning, there are many people moving around the camp. The camp then seems deserted as families and kids retreat into their homes and school. The School Box project, led by volunteers, helps the children by providing activities, teaching them communication skills and how to interact with different cultures.
So we do lots and lots of activities with the children, ranging from art and crafts. We hold cinema nights every week for different ages, and we do dancing every day, which is actually led by the refugees.
The School Box project also provides English classes even for the adults.
So yeah, we work with all children from about the age of 4 all the way through to the adults. So we also provide like adult English classes for the women and for the men.
Not everything is a playground. Some of the refugees don't hesitate to speak about the camp problems.
We came to hear a lot of journalists. They are take picture and make video, but all of us not help us. The food's so bad here.
أنا هون بهذا الكم عايش بمنفى. خدمات ضمن هذا الكم أكثر من سيئة. الطعام هون اليونانيين بيطعموه للكلاب وبيقولوا لنا إنه هذا ما بيصلح للبشر. ودكتور ما في، إذا اضطرينا حدا مرض حدا كذا ما في.
Constant access to healthcare is a necessity because so many young children live in the camp. After weeks of no healthcare and with a possible health crisis looming, a new organization is now in charge of healthcare.
We did vaccines to the children from hepatitis, and we try to do more and more vaccines to help them with the diseases. We try to protect them from the infectious diseases.
Despite their situation, the families are jumping for a chance at a new life.
Elsewhere in Greece, there are no formal centers, but refugees have gathered in abandoned buildings in Thessalonica.
In an old warehouse, Katerina Shapina met 13 volunteers from all over the world.
Abandoned buildings in Thessaloniki, Greece are the only shelters over the heads of many refugees. Some are considered economic refugees and therefore cannot be granted refugee status or accepted into any camps.
Police come here. Why are you sleeping here? I say no home. We are homeless. So he say what I do? You go other side. Not sleeping here.
Afraid of the police, they do not leave their makeshift shelter or go far from each other. Volunteers like Hema bring them food.
I am the face they see every day because I came with the distribution, but I am behind me, and near to me is a lot of volunteers.
Hema's job is pick up lunch and dinner from local volunteers and distribute it around the Thessaloniki squads. Soul Food Kitchen gathers people from all different parts of the world. Volunteers come from Australia, Slovenia, Portugal, Italy, even England. They stay 9 days on average. This Bosnian by the name of Pixie founded Soul Kitchen in August of 2016.
Ova kuhinja je nastala sa donacijom od Darius Siriusa, grad Spenden, Konvoj i Luksemburg Catch a Smile. Tako smo počeli ovu kuhinju, sa tom donacijom. I onda se razvilo. Skoro dnevno smo na liniji sa Darius Siriusom.
In Soul Food Kitchen they manage to cook and provide food even during the winter.
U kuhinji je bilo malo čupavo, pošto nismo imali vode, smrznula se. Zamrznuta je bila 11 dana. I prali smo suđe sa snijegom, bukvalno. Par dana kuhali smo snijeg, topili ga da bi mogli da peremo suđe. I onda sam od lokalnih ljudi dobio vodu, onda je se njima voda smrznula. Tu je bilo malo problem, ali kuhali smo svaki dan 2 obroka, kao što smo navikli.
They cook lunch and dinner, but also provide breakfast. Through donations, they buy groceries from the local farmers.
Danas je bilo, 94 osobe na doručku. Mi dodamo između plus, znači 30 ili 60. Radiš po feelingu na osnovu dana prije. Ako dođe veća grupa ljudi, dobijemo i taj podatak i onda na osnovu toga kuhamo.
Soul Food gets 1 or 2 requests for volunteering a day. They recommend it to each other and keep coming. Mojca and her husband Vlado come from Slovenia. The first time they came here to visit their daughter who was volunteering.
Možda u životu nisam toliko plakala ko sad, ali nisam se ni toliko smejala i nije bilo nikad tako dobro. Sve je to u jednom paketu dolazi, sve. Ali s tim što plaćeš i ako ti se, kako se kaže, ako, znaš ono, piti, ako to ne vredi ništa. Ako ih obravnavaš samo kao ljude, kao normalne ljude, to jesu, razumeš, svi smo mi ljudi. Ništa drugom ne treba.
Mojca works for an airline company. Vlado is a freelance journalist. They collect donations for Soul Food in Slovenia. And as soon as they get a few days off, they come here. They sleep here and work the same as the other volunteers.
Dosta ljudi mi je reklo, pa šta misliš da ćeš promijeniti svijet? Pa smo onda debatirali s Mojicom, pa kažemo, pa nećemo promijeniti svijet, ali ćemo možda olakšati život jednom, trojici ili stvari, sve što to Pixi radi. Evo, svaki dan nahranimo 100-200 ljudi, nekad smo ih 400. Znači 400 ljudi živi sa hranom, 400 ljudima pomogneš nekako, njima je lakše. I plus to sistem ne radi, oficijelni sistem, političari diskutiraju, a sve to se događa. I onda je to neki mali rebelizam protiv sistema.
90% of the food they prepare is vegan.
Yeah, you can empty that now.
They distribute it to 4 locations in Thessaloniki.
The distribution is very different for the lunch, for the dinner. In the lunch you have here like 3-4 Greek women who take the food for all the family. Salad?
At the time of dinner distribution, we didn't see any women. Men come to collect the meals for the whole family.
Now we go for the last stop in the distribution is we call the abandoned building, and we have there, depends of the day, like 60, 100 person. The last year is 400 person inside, and they are waiting.
They do not only distribute the food to refugees. They meet many Greeks who are poor and lost their jobs because of the economic crisis. Hamas van is there for all of them.
The legend of Soul Food Kitchen is we do food, we're cooking food for every person who is hungry.
I'm Katarina Šapina reporting from Thessaloniki, Greece.
In the peak of the refugee crisis, over 2,000 reporters applied for press credential to visit Vinoyung, the refugee camp at the border between Greece and Macedonia.
Macedonia received only the status of a transit country. Tijana Jakovljević explains what this means.
It is hard to imagine 800,000 people crossing from Greek Idomeni to Macedonia at the peak of the refugee crisis. Back then, in a single day, 14,000 people would cross the border.
Greece. This is the main border between Greece and Macedonia.
Germany.
Germany.
The resident who has been here the longest time is showing us the path of refugees. The Greek border is just a few meters away from here.
Ich bin Schüler. From here, from this university. Vonig Gevgilia University.
Nuri Stad spends his days learning German. He is waiting here for his temporary passport so that he can join his family already in the German town of Herten.
My family went to German before me nearly 4 months before me. Why? Because the money is not enough to all.
They paid the smugglers $2,000 per person. Some months later, Nuri managed to pay his fee and finally started his journey. Through Turkey, Greece and Macedonia, he reached the Serbian border. But unfortunately, he was sent back here.
Serbian don't enter and said stay. The next day, the border is closed.
That day, in March 2017, the Balkan Route was formally closed. Since then, Nuri has been waiting. Germany granted him a visa and he is now waiting for the travel papers.
I hope to reach my family, okay? But I don't know which the time.
This electrical engineer remembers good times in Syria. His wife was a teacher. Their children were studying. A normal life. Now he has no hope he will ever go back. Their house is destroyed and the whole family is waiting for him in Germany.
Vinojug u makedonskoj Gevgeli tranzitni je centar za izbjeglice. Na vrhuncu izbjegličkog vala pružao je smještaj za do 700 izbjeglica. Trenutno smo ih ovdje zatekli 9.
On the other side of Vinojug, we hear the laughter of 3 girls. They are very amused by microphones and cameras. The girls and their mother are Iraqi Kurds and hope they will be reunited with their father soon, who is already in Germany. Their mother waits every day for their papers.
Before I don't speak English and I speak Kurdish, but now I can't speak Kurdish, Arabic and English. I don't have home in Iraq now. I come in the Kurdistan, in the camp, 1 year in the Kurdistan, in the camp. And after 1 year, I come in the Turkey. In 10 days, I live in Turkey. And after 10 days, I come in Greece. 1 month in Greece, and I come here in Macedonia. Means very good and girls very good, but I want to go to my husband because girls small, they want to father.
Although Leila can't wait to join her husband, she and her daughters don't lack anything here in the center.
We don't scared, we don't, it's very good. No, like Iraq, in Iraq we don't sleep, we're scared.
Volunteers from the Red Cross are helping Leila to get the documents she needs. Just like Nouri's, her days are also filled with waiting.
I don't know this, maybe this month, maybe another month, I don't know.
I'm Tijana Jakovljević reporting from Gevgelija, Macedonia.
From an adult learning a language in Macedonia, we now take you to a refugee camp in Serbia, where a young boy is perfecting his artistic talent.
Miljana Miletić introduces us to a little Picasso, pursuing his dreams.
They call him Little Picasso because of his talented drawing. For now, Farhad Nouri lives in this refugee center in Krnjača in Greater Belgrade. The little Picasso spends his time drawing in a 10 square meter room he shares with his family.
Can you show us your pictures?
I think they were my paintings when I was in Greece.
In Greece?
Farhad never went to art school. He learned to draw by looking at paintings by his favorite artists, Picasso and Dali. From sports like Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic to politicians like German Chancellor Angela Merkel, this refugee can draw anything. But that's not all.
یک چیز دیگه ما وقتی هر چیزی که این میدید زود یاد میگیریم مثل زبان. ما زبان خود ما نمیفهمیم چجوری یاد گیریم. هیچ کلاسی نره. پیشه کردا میره 2 تا کلمه حرف میزنه یاد میگیره. مثلا گریس ما بودیم چند مدت چند تا زبان یاد گرفته بود. یک چیزا یاد گرفته بود. میتونست ما رو جای دکتر جای ببره. I want to sing one day in Italy and in America talent. چیزی که مثلا میخواد بگیره کار کنه زود یاد میگیره. از بچگی از 6 سالگی تا شروع کرده بود یک چیزای رو تشویق میکردن اونم انجام میدم.
Farhad is the oldest of 3 brothers. The mother says that both 8-year-old Farsad and 6-year-old Farmaz are gifted, but Farhad is the most talented one.
جایی میبینیم همه میبینن همه ماجرا خودشون که هستیم در جریان که دعوای بچه‌ها میشه دعوای خانواده ها میشه بچه‌ها زیاد بیرون میرن از درس و نقش اگه یک جایی باشه این یک درس بخونن یک جایی باشه که تکلیف ما روشن باشه که ما اینجا ماندگار میشیم خب بچه‌ها این وضعیت نیه یک روز سر اینا شکسته میشه یک روز دست پا اینا یک روز دعوا میکنن با هر گروهی هستن اینجا.
In Herat, Afghanistan, Jamila was a housewife and Fakim was unemployed. Life in war environment forced them to leave Afghanistan. Their journey through Iran and Greece was exhausting.
بخواد بچه‌ها درس بخونه بخواد برسه به مدرسه به جایی بتونن برسن ما حالا این بچه‌ها که ما این کار بکنه خب ما نمیتونیم این که مسلم شما همه میبینید که دست اینا روی کشور بر نمیاره که ما کار بکنن مدرسه خوبی بچه‌مون بره درس بخونه ما فقط اومدیم از اینکه همه چیزای افغانستان که فعلا برهم در هم است همه چیزی اینه که ما بی‌سوادیم.
This self-taught boy is also learning how to play guitar all by himself. This guitar was a gift from a music band while they were in a camp in Greece. His biggest wish is to become a famous painter and photographer. Farhad hopes that one day, maybe in Switzerland, England, or Italy, he would exhibit all these drawings that he keeps in a plastic bag. I'm Miljana Miletić, reporting from Belgrade, Serbia.
Our Balkan route continues now to Croatia.
While waiting for her asylum in Croatian town, Rama Josif continues her elementary education.
But as Nika Bučina reports, her status as a student isn't quite clear.
Ja idem u Ostavi.
Osnovnoškolska.
A sad mi recite što ne volite.
Mate
I
Lovrak.
don't like.
Rama dolazi iz Afganistana. U Kutini pohađa 2. razred osnovne škole Mate Lovraka. Žive u tamošnjem prihvatilištu za tražitelje azila. Ramina obitelj je nedavno zatražila azil u Hrvatskoj. S hrvatskim jezikom za sada se dobro snalazi.
Kako se tebi sviđa ovdje?
Dobro.
Ovo je bila napisana,
Da.
kako se nalaziš?
Tako.
Drugo? Je li teško učiti ovdje na hrvatskom?
Malo teško je.
Ali brzo si naučila hrvatski?
Da.
I kako?
U osnovnu školu Mate Lovraka u Kutini trenutno ide 5 djece tražitelja azila. Većinom su to djece iz prihvatilišta.
I onda ćemo ih probati posložiti po redu kako čujemo. Slušaj pjesmu.
Ovu pjesmu tebi pjevam ja, cijelog si
Obrazovanje azilanata i tražitelja azila u Hrvatskoj regulirano je pravilnikom iz 2007. godine. Kako se u to vrijeme nisu mogli predvidjeti razmjeri današnje izbjegličke krize, taj pravilnik ne rješava status djece azilanata i tražitelja azila u hrvatskim školama.
Oni, nažalost, sve dok nemaju OIB, odnosno osobni identifikacijski broj, ne mogu biti upisani kao redovni učenici. Tada oni dobivaju identifikacijski broj koji, ajmo reći tako, zamjenjuje osobni identifikacijski broj sve do trenutka dok ne dobiju azil, zapravo u Republici Hrvatskoj.
Djeci azilantima dodijeljen je status gosta. Status gosta kao takav nije zakonski propisan i u Hrvatskoj ne postoji.
Sve dok zapravo oni ne zadovolje nekakvu razinu poznavanja hrvatskog jezika, ne možemo ih ocjenjivati, već ih ocjenjujemo opisno, znači ocjenjujemo njihov odnos prema radu, zalaganje, trud.
Pravilnik propisuje obveznu pripremnu nastavu hrvatskog jezika za svu djecu azilante i tražitelje azila.
Tijekom provođenja pripremne nastave, dakle, učenici su 2 sata dnevno, tijekom nastavnog dana, 2 sata dnevno uče hrvatski jezik, a ostala 2 ili 3 sata su u svojim razrednim odjelima, znači kako bi bili integrirani. Dakle, izdvaja ih se samo u onom trenutku, u principu kada uče hrvatski jezik.
Bez obzira na njihov neodređen status, djeca redovito pohađaju nastavu. Učiteljicama je posao dodatno otežan, pošto im prevoditelj nije dostupan.
Engleski je sigurno tu spona, jer većina i učitelja i djece azilanata poznaje engleski bar na onoj osnovnoj razini. Jel? Tako da, evo kažem, u Zagrebu znam da imaju i prevoditelje, čak koriste, ali nama nažalost nisu ovdje dostupni, tako da snalazimo se svakako i rukama i nogama.
Svi su me zezali, ter Bog mi rezali. Kamenjake spunili i sve sam me zbunili.
U našem razredu je jedna djevojčica koja je iz Austrije došla ovdje pa je govorila njemački. Rama je izuzetno dobro razumjela se sa tom svojom kolegicom koju smo ju stavili odmah i u istu klupu. Tako da su oni meni prevađali na njemački. Tako smo krenuli.
Danas sam igla u autobusu. Ja sam došla u škola i moja učiteljica je vidjela moje zadaće.
I onda vam ja pročitam to. Vi ako točno odgovorite, dobivate 5 bodova za slučaj.
Iako je cijela situacija na Ramu ostavila traga, u školi uz pomoć razrednih kolega proživljava stabilnu i sretnu svakodnevicu.
Naša Rama je stvarno jedna izuzetna djevojčica. Djevojčica koja se u naš razred, u razredni odjel 2. razreda izuzetno lijepo uklopila. Gotovo da mogu reći da se ne primjećuje kad dođete odmah u razred. Tamnija je možda nego naša djevojčica i to je jedina razlika po čemu ćete ju prepoznati.
Pogledaj mamici 2 lijeve.
Nema nekakvih razlika između ostale djece u razredu i Rame, ali tako?
Pa malo.
Malo, u čemu? Koje su te razlike?
Tome što Rama lijepo crta i... Vidjeti ona kako sam. Najčešće radim sljedeću fiziku.
Another family that lives in Kutina are refugees from Iraq.
In 2016, Iraqis, Afghans and Syrians were the top 3 nations for asylum seeker in the European Union.
Our reporter Valnea Vrevic met a young teenager from Mosul in a tough situation who managed to keep his head up.
A crowd at lunchtime in Kutina's refugee center. Some of the people we meet have been here more than 6 months. Vulnerable groups, wounded mothers, parentless children, struggling families, questioning teens. Muhammad is one of them. For this 13-year-old, the only weapons he hears are in video games. But only a year ago, he listened to the same sounds on his hometown streets Mosul in Iraq. ISIS attacked his home.
We make a bomb and we fracture my house and the chicken, and my mother and the chicken broken the food.
After the attack, Muhammad's mother Sana can't walk by herself. But she doesn't let the injury stop her from making lunch for her family every day.
What is that?
This is dolma.
Dolma?
Yes.
Which vegetable is it?
Rice and pepper and tubzna syrup. I don't know.
This family of 5 traveled to the Balkan Route just before it was closed, in March 2016. From Greece to Macedonia, Serbia and Croatia, they finally reached Austria, only to be deported back to Croatia. The European Union Dublin Convention states refugees must be deported to the first EU country where they originally registered. While waiting for their asylum to be granted, Muhammad thinks about the future.
My hope I going to play football and I good playing football. All friends say me you going to play football good. Just you bigger you going like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi go playing football.
A month after our first visit, we find Muhammad on the playground after school. He likes math and physics, but he is also learning Croatian. Sometimes the language is difficult, but new friends help.
In the school, some teacher don't know English. Will help me how to say in the Croatian in the teacher.
While they enjoy learning a language, they remain frustrated with the system. They still don't know how much time will pass until asylum will be granted. That causes problems.
I have physiotherapy in the Austria. I have a good doctor in the Austria. I have good drug in the Austria. But bring it me here 4 months here. I don't have drug. I don't have physiotherapy. Before 2 months, I am good only 10 days in the Kutina. In the physiotherapy, then tell me you don't have asile. Croatia don't have money for hospital because you don't have asile.
Ironically, back in Iraq, Sana worked as a nurse, but now she's the one that needs care. Every day it gets tougher to receive asylum in Croatia. Syrian refugees have the advantage, while the requests from the Afghanistan and Iraqi refugees are being declined. Deportations from Germany back to Croatia are increasing, prolonging the refugee crisis.
Ayub!
Meantime, Muhammad dreams of being a football player. If he gets an asylum in Croatia, he hopes to play for the national team.
We are here in the Grand Canal of Trieste, Italy, near the northern tip of the Balkans.
This story is much bigger than the Balkans. It is global.
Spreading to politicians, volunteers, people like you and I, from places far and wide.
Our reporter Bailey Nage has studied refugees for 3 years and takes us to Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States.
Thank you for visiting Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport.
The refugee crisis isn't lost to the rest of the world.
In America, a new president and radically different policies resulted in rallies erupting nationwide, specifically at airports. The protesters want America to remain a melting pot, to allow refugees to find safety inside its borders. But President Trump calls for a refugee ban. To many, America may look confused. While political rhetoric swings from one extreme to another, Americans use their free speech to stand with the refugees.
With Syrian families arriving to Phoenix, the United States' fifth largest city, Phoenix residents are finding a newfound passion for serving their newest neighbors. James El-Shraki and his wife Danielle have dedicated a huge portion of their lives to refugee assistance and research. Just in March 2017, they were in Greece speaking with refugees who had just crossed the sea.
The couple traveled there on separate research trips, but this specific refugee crisis hit James particularly hard because he is a Syrian American who grew up in a country he no longer recognizes. He says he never could have imagined this happening to his home, yet he tries to go back every few years. Phoenix has opened their door to the Syrian community. In 2010, Emmeline Gabor came to Phoenix. And like many others, Emmeline and her husband Hussam watched from afar as their home country dramatically changes shape.
We saw that before they start in Tunisia, then Libya, then Egypt, then Syria. So we think the same scenario will happen in Syria. The regime will go out and another group will take over and then we'll do a new election or something like that. And we'll continue our life.
But something very different happened in Syria. The regime fought against the public, creating a vacuum for extremist groups. Emmeline came to the United States before the war began, on a student visa. She waited patiently for her new husband to join her.
My mom called me and she told me about the news, that he was arrested and we don't know anything. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know anything? All we know, he was arrested, and you know how things are going in Syria. They can kidnap you and for no reason, and you could be thrown at a death basement, and nobody will know where are you.
The time dragged on as communication went dark.
I remember our first anniversary. I had to celebrate with my mom. And we got a bottle of wine. I had to drink it by myself. My first anniversary, I didn't know if I was a widow or not. I knew it's gonna be horrible. I didn't lose hope. I always had hopes that he's gonna come back, but I was at a loss. Like, I didn't know what I'm gonna be doing.
Finally, after months, Hussam called Emmeline. He was alive and released, but had experienced something no one could imagine.
When they took me to the investigation, they blinded my eyes, and they bind my hands in the back, and they put me in my knees. I saw many things in the basement. In this pipe, there's many people hanging in these pipes, and they are naked also. Some of them died. When you are sitting here, you can hear if there's another person is screaming in the another room.
Together again, the two focus on their young and growing family.
How far along are you?
4 months.
But in the back of their minds, the past is not erased.
I get out from the jail, but the jail is still inside me. I never.
America has given the family many opportunities, but as all immigrants or refugees, integration is difficult.
If you can just imagine for just 1 minute that you were forced to leave your home and just go to a new country where you don't speak the language. The culture here is so different. There's so much freedom that a lot of Middle Eastern cannot handle.
Although now happy and safe, the two feel different about their new meaning of home.
I hope one day we will go back and we will see it as we lived that. I don't think Syria is the same as we lived it.
I have a different answer. home is here for me.
This is Bailey Nage, reporting from Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States.
We began the Balkan Route with stories of thousands of refugees forced to flee their homelands into the wild and the reckless sea.
We heard stories of families and young people escaping for a new home.
Home and hope leads the hearts of these refugees and is the center of each of the stories we have told.
People just like you and I.
Seeking the truth behind the end lines. They live it while we watch it.
Perhaps in the process finding a way to help.
In a sense, we are all refugees, hoping for something new, striving for peace.
Looking for new ways to move past the wounds of our lives into wonder of hope for future. I am Ivana Tanacković.
And I am Andy Bora.
And this all has a greater goal, and that is to report the refugees better.
I've studied refugees for 3 years but never seen it up close, and so that really opened my eyes to what it's like for them in a transit center far away from their own homes.
I could work with these wonderful people from all over the region. It was very good.
The learning to edit clips, because that's the one thing I always wanted to learn how to do.
My favorite thing about these workshops are people. I'm very happy to meet them all.
I had the chance to go even in Greece in a camp and had the chance to communicate with those refugees that have so many problems.
I do the anchors on different locations and all of that in such a short period.
Got with some people from Croatia, from Albania and other countries.
Is meeting new amazing people and reporting on refugees and their heartbreaking stories.
Meeting new people and collaborating with other young journalists.
Talking with the refugees because I'm learning how to approach them.
It was a great opportunity to meet new people, to make new friendships, and of course to get new knowledge.
The number one, the most amazing thing has been the people. Just meeting everyone and just working together in this room. Really high stress, but everyone just coming together and putting massive effort.
Working together and getting to know each other much better.
The fun, the friendships, but most important, the focus on the future. That gives us all a lot of hope.